Leah Sabra Bas Hanach Zundel. A month of learning. Sam and Shifra Coleman in memory of his mother, Sarah Rachel Bas Avraham. And Reuven Zev and Susan Podolsky in memory of his father, Tzvi Ben Pinchas. Week of learning. Manny Wertman in memory of his wife, Chaya Sarah Bas Alter Yosef. Michael and Sharon Glass in memory of his father, Yitzchak Tzvi Ben Yechiel Michel. And what is today's date? And Chuck and Shelley Orgil in memory of his sister, Tzipora, only one P, interesting, Tzipora Bas Nasan Nata. And that it concludes the dead people for today. Okay, if I'm not terribly mistaken, how far did David get? He got to the end of the blot? Okay, so we will commence on the top of Hey Amid Aleph.
I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind just going back just a tiny bit as a way of...
okay, Ella Omar Shmuel. Okay, we are on the last word of the antepenultimate line on Daled Omid Beis. Omar Shmuel. Shmuel wants to make the following explanation. This is how you explain the Brisa. Okay, time of the reason that whatever it is usher to you is ushered to you by that netter is because the Omar Shani Eichel Lecha Shani Toim Lecha. Because you mention foodstuffs. I won't eat from your stuff and I won't even taste your stuff. Who the usher? That's what makes it usher. So the structure of this particular yad is I create a barrier of one sort or another. There were 3 words used between you and me. And the effect of that barrier will be that I will neither eat nor even taste any food or liquid, presumably, that belongs to you. So who the usher? So that means I created like a one-way door in that barrier. I cannot eat your food, but you can come and eat my food. The only thing is you can't bring dessert. Okay? V'chaveira mutter. But the other guy, since you made a one-way turnstile, so to speak, in that barrier, he can eat your food. Okay? Aval, top of the page. Hey, Amid Aleph. Aval Omer Mudrani Hemach. I am creating a barrier from you. Literally, I make a vow relating you and a separation between us. Lichudei. And that one, okay. Shnayim Asurim. If I merely make the barrier and then do not qualify what it is of mine you cannot use or yours I cannot use, then it becomes a two-way street. And neither of us can benefit from the other. And furthermore, since I did not limit the barrier by stating food or svarim or some other thing, the implication is that everything of mine is asur b'hana to you, and everything of yours is asur b'hana to me. Shnayim asurim. They're both completely barred from using or benefiting from the other stuff. Kihada Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina, and that's exactly the same thing. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina says, Modrani Hemach, I make a vow regarding you, Shnein Asurin. They're both Asur. Okay. So Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina and Shmuel both seem to say that a stama yad, without any further explanation, bars both directions, but an explanation could somehow limit it. Yeah.
in the phrase mudrani emak, okay, because it has both a reference to the individual saying
and to the other
and
fellow.
to the other person, that's why it makes
That way it's a two-way street. And he doesn't limit it by saying your food. He just makes a general rule. I'm building a wall between us. And that's how the imagery I use. I build a wall between us. I cannot pierce the wall. It's brick. And you cannot pierce the wall. It's brick. It completely separates the two of us. Okay, but we're going to argue with that. Tanan, we have another Mishnah that says, Hareini alecha cherem. I am making what I possess a cherem to you, meaning it has the same status to you as if it was the property of the Beis Hamikdash. Hamoider asur, then the person that I'm speaking to, the one I say it to, my stuff is forbidden to him. Aval Medir, the one who makes the statement, lo, the other guy's stuff is not forbidden to him. Again, it's a one-way barrier because I'm saying anything I own is you have to treat it as if it's hektish. But I didn't say anything about your possessions. So the implication is Aval Medir lo, that the speaker is not prohibited from utilizing or benefiting from the other guy's stuff. So why is that different than Modrani Hemach? That's a contradiction to our previous explanation. So now the Mishnah is going to try and wiggle out of that, and the Gemara is going to tell us that we really did sort of qualify. Kagon the parish at alai. Yeah, I am saying my stuff is cherem to you, but at alai lo. But your stuff is not cherem to me. Okay? At alai cherem. If I actually say to you, at alai cherem, haneder aser, then I put your stuff in cherem vis-a-vis me, and I cannot utilize your stuff. Aval moider lo, but the other way around, I didn't put my stuff in cherem to you, so you can utilize my stuff, get benefit from my stuff. You look puzzled. No? Okay. Okay, aval moider lo, but the other way around, not. Okay, so then the Gemara, that's also problematic to the Gemara. So it says, Kegan de Parish, it's as if you actually said out, Ani alach lo. Ana alach lo. My stuff is not cherem vis-a-vis you. Okay, and those, as if he said, are implicit. The Gemara is arguing in the statement. You don't actually have to say it. So avo mistama my. So what if both my words and my intent are just, there's a cherem between us? What if I say something like that? Shneim asurim. Then it's a two-way street, a two-way barrier. You cannot use my stuff and I cannot use your stuff. So, but that creates a problem for the Mishnah. Midiktani Sefer, but if that's the case, look at the end of the Mishnah where you say, Hareini alecha at alai shenehen asurin. If I say, I am in cherem to you and you to me, then it's a two-way street and we're both forbidden. So if that's true, Hadenhu deshnehem asurim, then it's a two-way street and we're both forbidden. Hastama, so the implication now is the opposite. If it's simply stam, okay, hu asur v'chaveru muter, that the simply stam case, I put a barrier between us, that means my stuff is forbidden to you, but your stuff is your stuff is not forbidden.
You don't say
or, you don't. Okay, so now we have the following issue, just to clarify. The first, the Reisha, seems to imply that one way of utility in the deal, and the Sefer seems to imply the other way of utility in the deal, and that's problematic. Ella, so what we have to say is Hachi Itmar Rev Yossi Berev Chanina. This is what Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina actually meant. Moiderani lecho, I have created this vow circumstance to you. Shneim Asurim. So what I've done is I've built a brick wall between me and you. Neither of us can use the other's stuff. Okay? Modrani hemach, but if I only say I have barriered myself from you, okay? Who usher? So I'm not allowed to use your stuff. V'charera mutar. But you are allowed to use my stuff because I put the barrier from you. I made it a one-way street. Okay? Hamas Nisan, but that creates a new issue with our Mishnah because the Sefer of our Mishnah says, Katani Heimach, I say from you. And then there were the three Lashonos that translate, I separate myself from you, I disassociate from you, I distance myself from you. There were three Lashonos there. And we want to interpret the Mishnah the way Shmuel did, that it means v'kulan ad sheomer ani toem lecha sha'ani eichel lecha. Shmuel says, without a qualification, it's automatically a two-way street. Now, even though the wording is, I create the barrier from you. Shmuel says, until you say, I want your food or taste your food, that it's everything and it's a two-way street. So that's a problem. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Now, in Ubekula, in any of these cases, according to Shmuel, unless I narrow the restriction to a specific category, then who the usher? I'm forbidden to anything of yours because I didn't narrow it. But you're not forbidden because I said to you. Okay. So, but if all I said, Aval Modrani him, I create a barrier from you, then according to Shmuel, Shnehem Asur, they're both forbidden. And that's problematic. That's very problem. Okay, because we just seem to have said the opposite of what we seem to have said. Sure. So, Ella me'ikara de Shmuel hachi itmar. Here's what Shmuel tried to say initially. Time da omer shani eichel lecho, shani toim lecho. Only because I put in the limiting clause, your food or you taste your food, eat your food or taste your food. Hu de'en hu asur ella abachila. So therefore I can borrow your car or borrow your book. I just can't eat your food because I limited this statement to your food. Okay? Modra Ella. Okay, Modrani Mimcha. But if I make a blanket statement, I make a neder regarding you, or I marachek myself from you, I distance myself from you, Asur Chilu B'Hana would regard everything, and I could get no hana from you whatsoever. If that's the case, Lema Shmuel Hachi. Why didn't Shmuel just say it like that? Im lo omer sha'ani oichel lecho sha'ani toem lecho. If you do not put in the limitation of the stipulation of what barrier is related to. Now we have to change this girsa here to asur afilu bahano. because the first girsa is corrupt. It would say, I'm forbidden to do anything except eat your food, which is ridiculous, because that's what I used. Okay, so asur afilu bahano. If without a qualifier, I'm completely forbidden to you whatsoever in any regard of anything. So now let's go back and look at Shmuel again. Elahachi itmar. If Shmuel said anything at all, here's what it was. Taima da oimar shani oichel lecho shani toem lecho. Since I stated I will not eat your food or taste your food, who da usher, that forbids me through that netter to eating your food. Aval Omar mudrani hemach. But if I simply say I create a barrier between us, lo mashma da Omar asur. How does that mean? How do you infer from that I'm ushering your food or your book or anything else? My time, it wouldn't work. Lo mashma da Omar asur. I have not said I'm forbidden to you, because I may have had in my mind some unstated limitation. And the mindset is part and parcel of the shvua. Now, if I express the shvua or the neder clearly, then it reveals my mindset and it's chol. But if I do not clarify in the words what my mindset is, that's problematic. So we could possibly say as follows. My timer, why does it not restrict me from using your stuff? Moder ani mimcha lo mishata'ar ine mehadach mashma. What it could mean is, I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm separating myself from you. I'm never going to talk to you again. Doesn't say anything about my wife coming over and borrowing your book. It says that could be a potential meaning. Okay, rashani mimcha. I separate myself from you. The law avida imuk masu matan mashma. I don't want to have anything to do with you means I may not want to do business with you, buy or sell from you. It could mean that. Not that it does, but it could. Okay? The law me. I'm sorry, I skipped. I think I skipped. Miruchakni mimcha. I distance myself from you. I won't come near you. Lo ka'amina ba'arba amas dila chamashma could mean literally. I won't approach you. I won't come near you physically 8 feet or thereabouts. Turn the page. So that would imply that since the shvua cannot really be clearly, or the neder could not really be understood, it may not be in effect. So lema ka'omer Shmuel yodim she'ein mochichos lo havyan yodayim. So does the implication now is that a yad, which is a shvua, not using the formal text of a shvua, I hereby declare that I will treat your product as if it is a korban. In other words, I am completely disassociated from it, and I spell out all the factors. But if I simply say I'm separating myself from you, that's a yad formula. And unless it's clarified what I'm saying, then maybe it doesn't mean anything and it's not applicable. Is that how we understand Shmuel? Absolutely. Shmuel mukim lo lamasnisin Rebbe Yehuda. Because Shmuel interprets our Mishnah as he imagines Rebbe Yehuda would. Now, I added words there that Darksville doesn't have and that Koran doesn't have, because you can hunt around in all of the discussions of Nidorim, and Shmuel never explicitly says you have to spell out a neder. in all its pratim. However, a similar circumstance is involved with gittin. Just as a netter means I'm distancing myself, I'm pushing Kenny off, yet I'm distancing myself and pushing my wife off. So if I can prove that in gittin, Rabbi Yehuda requires you to spell it out in painful detail, then I can infer he would say the same thing over here because of that analogy I just expressed. Okay, everybody got that?
What about by a nazir if he doesn't say anything?
But the word nazir itself is built in what it means. Okay, a nazir, I'm bli neder, I'm a nazir. So that means as of this moment, counting 30 days, ma'es la'es.
Doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference, but that's self-evident. Okay.
I owe you money. I'm dissing myself. I don't want to have nothing. Don't come near me.
I don't think you can do that. No, I don't think you can't make a neder. I can't make a neder. The sky is green. I can't make a neder. I'll eat pork.
But the point is sometimes people.
No, you can't violate a Torah rule with a neder. And there's a Torah rule that if you owe me money, you have to pay me back, see me after class.
Okay, the question is when I have to give it back.
And if otherwise not stated in 30 days.
Okay.
And if the terms of the loan state a different time, it's the but stam alone is 30 days.
I have a note that says you gotta pay me November 1st.
Then I have to pay you on or before November 1st.
I want to have nothing to do with everything else what I say.
But I pay it, I give it to Kenny, Kenny gives it to you.
You sure about it?
Yeah, you cannot cancel a loan. You can cancel, you could make a statement. No, you could make a statement, I meichel the loan and I'm not gonna have anything to do with it. That you could do. Because now you're telling me you don't want the money back. All right, let's go and let's see what Rabbi Yehuda says. Okay, because that's the item on the table. Okay, the Tanan. We learn a Mishnah in Git. What? Oh, I said that already. Shmuel Mukam lo masnisin to Rabbi Yehuda. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, who we would infer. The Omer Yadayim she'ein machichos lo havya Yadayim. Yadayim that do not spell out what you're trying to say is not a valid oath. Okay, the Tanan, and we learn it by inference from a Mishnah in Gittin. Gufa shall get, according to the whole function of a get, is Harei at Muteris l'choladam. Is you're not my personal playmate anymore. You can go and marry any other man. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda says, V'dein dahave leche minai, that you have that what the get has to do with what you're saying with the get is that this is the new arrangement between you and me, and you have to spell out Sefer Teruchin, a document of throwing you out, the Ageres Shavukin, and a letter of that I'm abandoning you, I'm having nothing to do with you anymore. You need those phrases or the equivalent, unless you include phrases like that in the get. Rabbi Yehuda says it's no good. But the Rabbanan say it's not ma'akev, and we'll see in a minute why. Afilu dachak Shmuel lu'ukimna l'snisin Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara first, before we discuss the get again, wants to know why do we say that why is Shmuel sort of pushed into interpreting our Mishnah like the Dasya, I think our Mishnah.
Michael said he's interpreting.
Right.
Our
Mishnah
Mishnah,
based on
that's based on the Mishnah in
Right.
Gittin, because Rabbi Yehuda is a das yachid. The
Right.
Chachamim don't hold that you have to spell it out, that the implicit in a get, those things are implicit in a get, even if you don't write them in. So what's going on here? Omar, okay. Afal gaf te ein yadayim luchach. Okay, lukma rabbanan. Let's just learn our Mishnah here, like the Rabbanan over there, that if it's implicit, you don't have to spell it out. Afal gaf te ein yadayim mochichos. So if it's clear what my implication, what my intent was, if I make a neder or a shvua, it would be good enough according to the Rabbanan. If only way you figure out, you know what I'm saying, is through context or implicit. If I lend Kenny a book and he delays in returning it, and I make a statement, I'll not lend you again. That doesn't mean I won't lend his wife a cup of soap, liquid soap. It means I won't lend him a book again. It's implicit in the context, and that's how the Rabbanan might hold. Okay, so Omar Rava tries to explain. Masnisen, she said, the Shmuel has a problem with the Mishnah, to wit, Amai Tane Sha'ani Oichel Lecha Sha'ani Toem Lecha. Why does the Mishnah, when it talks about Yadim, spell out I'm talking about food that I won't eat or even taste? Lisnei Shani Oichel Shani Toyem. Why does he say eat and taste? Okay, Shma Mina, but in an Yadayim Muchichos. That
if he left out the
if you
word
left
lechal,
out lecha,
so that's not clear whether he's answering both
it
of them
wouldn't
or
be
one
absolutely solid.
Right. And that's
Right? If I say I'm making a barrier between you and me with regard to food or taste. So you can infer that I mean eating his food or tasting his food, even then I put in the word his. Again, the context clarifies, even though the wording did not. So Shma Mina, the in Yadayim Malchichos. So we can require some degree of conclusivity. It may not be verbally expressed, but it is contextual. If it was just, I'm having nothing to do with you, that would not be enough. Turn the page.
Enjoy the smell of his food.
Yeah, smell is not enough. Halachically, if you're allowed to walk past McDonald's, even though they have the fumes coming out of the vent.
I said that not to eat or to taste his food, but I'm smelling it.
The same thing with.
Excuse me, there is no Easter on smelling.
Okay.
If your neighbor is doing a grilling and he's grilling pork sausages and the odor permeates the area, so lifnei mishuras hadin, as an extra precaution, if you can go around and not smell it, isn't a hate. But you have not violated a halacha if you walk by and take a deep breath and go, ah.
And even if I go into his house, he didn't ask me from his house.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct. You just can't eat. You could sit, you can come to me on Shabbos and watch us eat, but you can't eat.
But he just only specified two things, the rest is no problem.
That's what I just said. Come to me on Shabbos and watch us eat.
I should smell your food.
You could sniff to your heart's content. Okay. Itmar. So now we have another unnamed Amira pipes up on this issue. Itmar, we have an Amoraic statement. Yadayim she'en mochichos. When it comes to an unclear or an unspecified yad formulation of a shvua or a neder, Abaya Omer, Havyan Yadayim, they are valid. V'Rava Omer lo havin yadayim, they are invalid. Omer Rava, now we're going to go and we're going to say, why do they each say what they say? So Rava is going to pipe up and he's going to say, I'll prove my perspective that it is not good by citing a pasuk. Omer Rava, Rebbe Edi, Asparali. I personally heard from Rav Edi, Omar Kro, that there is a pasuk, Nazir lahazir lashem. The pasuk says, I become a Nazir and I am Nazir to God. Okay, or I abstain, literally, they translate it, I abstain from certain foods and behaviors for God's sake. Okay? Makish yados niziros leniziros. And we learned this earlier. We make a hekish between a yad of a nazir to an actual full declaration of a nazir. Ma niziros lahaflo'o. Just as naziros can only take effect if you make a clear statement, I want to be a nazir. I can't say something like, I wonder what it's like to be a nazir. That wouldn't do it. Af yodos naziros lahaflo'o. So too, the yad form of making yourself a nazir has to be clear. So we make that hekesh. Okay, so, and we learned earlier that we make a hekesh from naziros to nedarim, and that's how he learns it. Okay, so what does Abaya reply? Lema beplukta Rebbe Yehuda v'Rabbanan kamifligi. So maybe this dispute between Rav and Abaya is the same dispute in Gittin between Rebbe Yehuda and the Rabbanan. The Tanan, because we're mentioning that Mishnah again, Gufa shall get the basic purpose of a get. Hare ad muteris l'chol, you're no longer my wife. You can go marry anybody you want, or I'll take you. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, v'dein dahav yaleche minai, and this is the purpose. This is what this document is for. Sefer teruchin, a document of throwing you out. The git turin, and a release that makes you put that I'm throwing, that you're no longer associated with me. The igere shavukin, and a note that says I'm abandoning you. So all that happened here is he threw in another term. Okay, but it's essentially the same as previously. Abaya da Amerika Rabbanan. So now we'll say Abaya is going to hold like the Rabbanan over there, that you don't have to put all those terms in. And Rava, okay, Abaya da Amerika Rabbanan, Rava da Amerika Reb Yehuda. And Rava is going to say, no, you have to put all those terms in over there. And by implication, he has to spell it out in his yard as well. But maybe not. Omer lo Abaya might answer up. Ani da Amre afila de Rebbe Yehuda. I think I can explain my opinion even according to Rebbe Yehuda. Ad kan lo ka'amar Rebbe Yehuda ve'inyan yadayim achichos. Rebbe Yehuda only says yadayim don't work unless they're spelled out. Elagabi get. Only with regard to a get, because of the severe implications of a get. A get makes your children mamzerim. A get does all sorts of horrible things for all time. A netter is just a broken promise. Well, he's saying you can't.
I'm saying he has to, why? Because I'm going to learn out. Because every name that she had, it has to be written in the get. Based on that.
Yeah, I understand that. But again, we want to say, because get is sort of a disassociation from someone, and a neder is sort of a disassociation from someone, we can make a hekesh.
Right.
But
I'm saying because of that.
okay, but Abaya is saying no. Abaye is saying you're comparing apples to oranges.
Then that means
And
we're
you
gonna
can't
talk
do
about
it.
Whatever name she had, that's it. The other names don't have to be written in. We don't hold
No,
that.
wait, you can't change the dinim of get just because you can't compare it to
But then
Nidorim.
why are you making a hackish then with Nidorim?
According to Abaye, you're not.
Okay, so that's the point. I'm just.
I have no idea what you said. Okay, I am completely unable to understand what you said.
And that's what the Gemara says.
The Gemara is very.
But Abaye says there is no hekesh. Elagabi get, when it comes to a get, the ba'in increases. There has to be an absolute total 100,000% separation. Leka. So unless you spell it out in a get, you got a problem. Aval ba'alma mishmaitale, but when it comes to other contexts and nor other situations, that's not the case. And I can prove it from our Mishnah to answer Sid. I can make a shvua or a neder or a cherem that I'll have absolutely nothing to do with Reuven. Or I can make which would be like a get, sort of. Or I could make a neder. I won't eat his wife's cake. Believe neder, because his wife's cake is delicious. So the very nature of a neder is it can be internally qualified. Whereas a get, you can't say, I'm divorcing you completely 100%, but I have dibs on Tuesday night. You can't do that. It's either or. So that would be the reply. Okay? Rava Omer, Anna da Amre Afilu del Rabbanan. And Rava, on the other hand, we made like Rabbi Yehuda, he can say, no, I'm speaking in the terms of the Rabbanan also. Ad kan loka amre Rabbanan, the loba inin yodayim mochichos. The only time that the Rabbanan say it has to be absolutely clear. We do not require absolute clarity, elagabe get, except with regard to a get. So if they require absolute clarity with regard to a get, why don't they agree with Rabbi Yehuda to put in a bunch of terms?
Right.
So they say, look at the context. Why would a man give his wife a get unless he's trying to get rid of her? I don't care what you write. I mean, there are halachic rules. We're talking theoretically here. I don't care what you write. If you're giving her a get, whatever you write, it's because you're trying to get rid of her. So you have to look at the context, and that was what provides the clarity of Krisos. The ein anam migeresh es eshes chavero. I can't divorce Susan or Karen. I can only divorce Miriam if she would let me. Well, that's a requirement halachically now. She has to agree. Well, you don't have to. Okay, you don't have to. Aval, ba'amla nishmait lahu. But in general, and we'll stop there, who says that that it would be like that? In other words, with regard to a get, an imperfection or a lack of clarity wouldn't matter because the essence of the get is get out. That's why it's called a get out.
So that the point is though,
with other cases, as long as we would need either verbal conclusiveness or contextual conclusiveness. Did you understand his question? I couldn't. I don't know what he was talking about. Okay. All right. Tune in tomorrow. And I apologize in advance. You've got me for the next 2 weeks, except on Tuesdays when Ruvain's doing it. Huh? Yeah. No, because I go to, I leave early on Tuesdays.
Don't tell them where you're going. Right. What's wrong?
Thank you.